Hi, I'm Josh Harris, Associate State Director of Advocacy and Outreach with AARP Illinois. Welcome to the 2021 Gallery Guichard Virtual Trolley Tour. AARP Illinois is proud to sponsor the Virtual Trolley Tour as a celebration of Bronzeville's vibrant community. Gallery Guichard and its partner galleries are essential to preserving the cultural heritage of Bronzeville. We'd like to take a minute to remind all Illinoisans that AARP Illinois fights every day to advocate for affordable housing, affordable health care, community safety, and community development. Just this past year, we launched our multi-year Disrupt Disparities initiative, which focuses on advocating for laws to bring about necessary change to older adults of color all across the state. Already in 2021, we're proud to report legislative wins that expand retirement access to more than 1 million more Illinois residents, expanding telehealth options, which we know were so critical during the COVID-19 pandemic, expanding property tax relief for older adult homeowners, and creating more diversity on the Illinois Broadband Advisory Council. By continuing to support communities in this way, AARP wants to ensure that residents can age in place in multi-generational communities where their history can be celebrated. To learn more about AARP, visit aarp.org/il. Enjoy the show.
Welcome back to Gallery Guichard Virtually. I'm Andre Guichard.
And I'm Frances Guichard.
And we are so happy to have you back for Virtual Exhibition Catalog number 17. And this exhibit is entitled Evolution in Search of Bewilderment. And I have to give credit to our good friend Abiola Akintola. We were picking up work for this new show New Works by Shayo, and Abiola and I started this conversation about bewilderment and, not searching for, the most money or searching for material things, but searching for that special thing that's in a piece of art that when you see it as the viewer, it speaks to your soul. What is that magic that, you're in awe of trying to figure out what is the painting, and that feeling like when you're creating a piece of work,
I do. And it's even as the viewer, me, when we receive all of the artwork from the artist, I look at it and I'm bewildered. Like, wow, this is amazing. Like, what inspired them to create this work? How did they come to this? Like, if you look at Pearlie Taylor, like her abstracts, it's overwhelming just kind of looking at the beautiful colors, but also the depth that it has and how it relates to so many things in the world because it's abstract, and it makes me think of so many different things. Like the one piece she has in the show now makes me think of the forest or someplace tropical. It's really amazing to me, and I love that depth of field.
And that's just what I'm talking about, and that's what we'll be talking about tonight, is that journey that we're really focusing on in evolution, and the journey that an artist takes within a body of work. So particularly in Pearlie Taylor's case, if you look at the piece that we're talking about tonight, it feels totally different than some of her previous works, but having the opportunity as an artist to expound in a series is so important for the journey of an artist, for the search of bewilderment, that magic, or maybe some of the processes that really, were a breakthrough for creating some magic in the work, or the connection and the story in the work. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And I love it that each artist that we're showcasing have series, like my jazz series goes back 25 years, and you can see over time how that progression and how this new body of work progresses. So I say that, let's jump to the chase and get into these amazing artists.
Yeah, it's such a blessing to be able to, not only experience the work, but also know the artist. So you kind of get an understanding from our perspective of knowing the artist and then introducing them to our audience. So you get a chance to kind of have a relationship. And I think having that relationship, you kind of feel as though you might be able to guess what the artist was thinking, but most times you can't.
You can't. And having the beauty of the virtual exhibition catalog now in the 17th rendition, you have the ability to go back and binge watch and find out what is the base of the inspiration for each of these artists' work. But now, fast forward, we're talking about, what is it now that's driving them in this journey, and how is this work progressing? So I think this is, really special. And what the virtual exhibition catalog has also offered is something before COVID at an art show or an art opening with 150, 200 people. The artist only had so much time to talk to the viewer, the collector, about the inspiration, or we have so few opportunities to talk with anyone in extended time. And tonight is our opportunity to take you on a personal tour and really to discuss the evolution of each of these artists and their journey for bewilderment.
And like you said, you can always go back and watch it again or pass it on to someone else who may not have been able to come out to the exhibition and be able to hear the words of the artist speak about their work. And so like Emery Franklin, his pieces, his jazz pieces, I see the evolution of his work, but also the evolution in search of bewilderment. Because when you look at his work, you realize that he really taps into his heritage and his experience living in Tennessee around jazz and the music that jazz has built and brought out of him, or out of the connection of all the people who have influenced him to create this amazing work. And I just love the energy, the colors, the depth of how he engages each of the subjects within his paintings. And I feel like, for me personally, I love jazz. I'm not much of a fan of the blues, but I feel he has given jazz and blues that, energy
Big time.
that I can really relate to.
Yeah, and I'll just counter with, hats off to Emery. Emery is one of Oprah Winfrey's dad's favorite artists, and having that in his, pedigree as collectors is a great thing in terms of people his work has spoken to. But to, carry on to what you said, if you really look how he breaks up the whole painting, it's almost like a cubist painting, where it's sectioned like a stained glass window, but then even in the arm of the pianist, there's a face there, almost like a cloud, how you start to see things. So he just energizes and motivates you. So I think that bewilderment or that magic that, we're looking at is just, how is he, taking me on this ride? And I thought I was looking at a jazz painting. It's so cool.
And just look at it. When you look at the fingers of the piano player, you have the pianist playing the jazz music or the jazz or blues. He also wears the jewelry. So he has rings on, his bracelet, he's all into it, the cool sunglasses. I just think it's amazing.
Yeah, it's totally like multi-generational, because it speaks to so many different eras, the 70s, the 80s, right now, the Afro's back.
Right.
Cool. So I think that's really great and a great example. So as you look at these two pieces, they're definitely in the same series, but then he extends to more of a traditional jazz approach, and another piece within the body of work that I think is, really nice. It has some touches of something that, we all recognize.
Right, I agree.
Yeah, it's really nice.
And
So-
then thinking of, you mentioned stained glass. You have Malik Worthy and what he's doing with his pieces now with the stained glass.
Yes.
I think that's awesome.
Another great opportunity of an emerging artist. I think the last 3 exhibits have proven a rare opportunity where a new artist comes in, his work's still very amazing, under $750, and if you go to any of the previous virtual exhibition catalogs, you can see how this work has been selling. But again, I think he's really, expounding on that same Cubist style with more richer work. And I always like his floral mix that he does. But another artist to keep an eye on, Malik Worthy.
Yeah, Malik Worthy. And it's always, like you said, great to get in with emerging artists.
Yes.
You know, you never know where they're going to go, where the potential they have. And then as a collector, you have the ability to help the artists, you know, get really established in their work. You know, every time you purchase a piece of artwork, artists have the ability to create more work and then to be able to support their families and to, you know, to do many other things. So, you know, working and supporting emerging artists is a great way to start building your collection.
That's right. We were all emerging artists at one time. And everybody should kick themselves for every Malik Worthy that's out there where their work is $500 or less than $1,000 for an original work of art frame, which those are fleeting moments, but they're no different than a initial public offering of a stock. Everybody wishes they could have got Amazon at $32 or $50. It's $3,200 now. But each of these artists represent diamonds in the rough and our national treasures that are increasing in value whether we purchase them or not.
Right, and the ability to live among beauty and create wellness within your home. You not only, you know, get a chance to just enjoy it yourselves as a collector or somebody who enjoys art, but your children get to enjoy it too. And so they grow up understanding wealth and culture and the ability to have something of beauty within their home that speaks to them, that, you know, more than just a pair of gym shoes or new clothes. It's something that says you have value.
Exactly. So what about Marlene Campbell? You know, I think you have exemplified how every day is different. If you look at a landscape, whether you're at Lake Michigan and you look at the sun and the water and how it looks, but just the way that you've expressed light and energy in a day, in a landscape, I think is just really impressive in the colors. So talk a bit about having the ability to express and expound on that series with
You
the
know,
people migrating.
It's interesting because I do that series and people love the series. I mean, I do many other things too, but I think that series, because of its message, speaks volumes. And it's something that I believe that is coming from the Spirit that allows me to create the people and the conversation around our ancestors and who we are as African people and people of the diaspora, because it takes us back to the land, which is the sand and the sky and the beauty that God has created for us, but also our ancestors. And these are the people that we've loved in the past, who want us to be able to be successful, who want us to give back, to share and to love. And so I put that in my message of my painting, and it's different all the time because nothing stays the same. The sun sets and the next day it may be different. And the land may look different from the way it was today. It might be different tomorrow. So each time I paint with the intention of giving you something new, something more inspiring, something that keeps you going every single day, led by our ancestors.
Nice. And what about the colors in the clothing? How, you know, if you run across horizontally with the camera, it almost feels like you can feel the migration. And, you know, I had the benefit of being with you in South Africa when we first saw those landscapes and that inspiration. But over time, how do you keep finding additional inspiration for different days?
Yeah, you know, it's also just like every day you wear something new, something different. And I want you to know that these are the ancestors, that they come from a place of, you know, austerity. They're humble. They're not trying to be pretentious. They're just people. And they are people who have loved us and who have, you know, created something that we are able to stand on. And so the clothing that you see or the different colors that you see just help you to understand who they are as people. They're just people, but they're special and special to us.
Nice, very nice.
So thinking of talking about Marlene Campbell actually has the ability, or Francis Guichard, to be here today because I've been inspired by an amazing artist and my amazing husband. And I've been able to create because he has given me the opportunity to be myself and to be able to feel the energy around what I have been blessed to be a part of, as far as the arts and a wonderful family. And I am inspired by my husband's work. I think he's an amazing artist, and when I first met him, I don't know if you've probably heard in these past exhibitions that we've talked about, or the virtual exhibitions. When I first met Andre, I was admiring his artwork and I thought it was amazing. So I was really trying to be a collector, but I also found a wonderful husband. And I get the artwork all the time now. But I want to know how you continue to create the series around your jazz themes, and what continues to inspire you to create that?
That's a good question, and thank you. I really appreciate that. I love you and appreciate, just the generosity of your spirit and also being my own muse. But that's a twofold question, because there's the jazz series and the inspiration, and then there's the inspiration to want to continue to create as almost like a hunger, that you have to create, like you're hungry for creation. But at the same challenge, the wonderful opportunity we've been given to create platforms for artists. So 16 years ago, when we first opened the gallery, someone challenged me and said, I bet after 5 years you won't be able to create for the exhibits that you're producing. And I took it really personal then, because I didn't understand. You don't know what you don't know, how much work it is to do the collaborative work that we do with continuing keep this platform going, but how at the same time being able to create fuels the other side, and it's kind of vice versa, yin and yang. So the mere opportunity and challenge to be able to create in the midst of a busy, inspiring gallery is part of the challenge. And then the other half is a series that really is one of the first series that connected to my spirit and my ancestors, because the sole inspiration for the jazz series is Alfred Guichard Sr., my grandfather, who I never met. He died a year before I was born and raised in New Orleans, and was featured on the radio in the 30s, and was then recruited by Eddie Randall and the Blue Devils, this famous St. Louis band that Miles Davis would later be recruited in. I found this information just by happenstance. I was reading a book, Black Beauty, White Heat, which is a collective of the jazz greats from the 30s to the 50s in the South, and just going through a jazz book, and I run across my grandfather. So that was the inspiration that really was weighing heavily on me at that time, debating about really taking a leap of faith in the creative space versus a business space. And knowing my history was the inspiration. So for me, having an opportunity to have a platform like Gallery Guichard and a lot of the places we travel to and exhibit and express this series is also a tribute to my grandfather, who was a saxophonist. And when you look at the pictures in Rigel and the past, every day they were clean. I mean, it was just like watching GQ magazine, and they carried style and elegance, and to see a lot of the sets, really, I kind of look at the series as I'm traveling along the circuit with them in different sets, over time, I've used imaginary sets and different things, but it's really more now about expressing the relationship between the musician and the instrument, and how the color or the textures are the vibration and the improvisation. So it's a series that I really like, using different mediums to express those things. So the forms are often ground iron, which is oxidized. So the oxidation has a period of discovery where some of the patina looks like perspiration, and then the actual horn or the instrument, in this case the trumpet on Jazz Duo, is actually made from real silver leaf and chrome. So it's, using those mediums that express that beauty of the instrument, but then that improvisation is the loose arrangement, kind of like an abstract with the canvas. So I enjoy just the discovery of it, how it feels more overwhelming when you're face to face with the work, and continuing to refine processes that really bring it to life.
Yeah, I love that patina. That means they're getting it in,
That's
and
right.
you see the sweat dripping off of them. It's just
right.
amazing. And I love the science behind the art, because art is, also about science. When you look at, you're using the ground iron and how it oxidizes, and understanding how that creates the pigment or the color of, the faces, and how you're able to use that as your medium for, just being able to create the hue of the person's skin. That's awesome.
Thank you. And that's actually what I'm trying to communicate. So it's funny, a lot of times it's just, you see it in your mind, and then you just think of ways to express it. So yeah, I'm really having a lot of fun. But it looks like Pearlie Taylor's having a lot of fun too. And if you've seen some of her previous work, I love how over time, watching her in different exhibits and even through the VECs, how this piece has just a different feel. I mean,
Exactly.
it makes you think about so many things, which non-objective abstract does, but to be able to watch it have its own different personality, but same fingerprint.
Right. If you have a Pearlie Taylor piece out there, you might want to take a look at this one, because it's different and it's amazing.
And don't forget, you can see Pearlie, Marlon Campbell, all of these artists on our virtual exhibition catalog. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. You can go to www.Gallery Guichard and drop into the gallery and see VEC number 17, this exhibit, and many of the previous, all of the previous exhibits as well, to get that background on what the artist was thinking as this series or body of work has evolved. And I think that's what's special about this platform. Our next artist featured in the Evolution exhibit is Fanta Sela, and really different work than we've had in the past. The previous bodies of work have been more non-objective abstract, but this is a landscape, 2 landscapes with silhouettes, and it just really expresses a freedom and kind of openness. And if you kind of follow her travels on social media, it feels like an expression of her visions and travels.
Right. Again, wellness. It makes me feel as though I can relax, and it feels actually medicinal, where it's like you feel like you're meditating in her work, and just being there on the water and being able to just relax and meditate and enjoy life. I feel that coming from her, that good energy coming from her painting.
So more of a focal point to another place, like a little vacation in your mind.
Exactly.
It's very nice.
Yeah, having that on your wall, especially if you are someone who wants peace and calm in your life, I think is a great opportunity to have that piece, those 2 pieces.
I agree.
And they go together.
Yeah, nice diptych, great color. Next artist?
Next artist is Maxwell MKs. He's awesome, has done a lot of great things in his short career as a young artist, very intellectual, love talking with him about his work. And this series is from his Black Panther series. And it was about the Fred Hampton, and it's about the Black history of, knowing our ancestors and the great things they've done to make it possible for us to be where we are today. But when Black Panther came out, we had the opportunity to create some amazing works around the theme of Black Panther, and understanding the movie was about, a fictitious, place in Africa. But to be honest with you, it may be fictitious, but knowing your heritage and who you are as African people before slavery, before, coming to America, before America was even thought of, you really then understand who you are. And I love how Maxwell brings that together. He brings that together through a person like Fred Hampton, and then making it clear to us that, our greatness carries through to the struggles that we have today. And so I just love that piece. And I love how he uses the Ankara cloth for, on his work. And it represents, again, the African cloth that is created in Africa there. So it's amazing.
Yeah, I agree. And his process, his fingerprint, this is a great opportunity to share how he's still layering, whether it's cooking and layering with season, or a painting where you're layering with color. He's layering layers of wood, but then dropping those little nuggets of information, the Black Panther, the Ankara cloth. So just kind of layers of African history on top of layers of wood. So really interesting. And another great artist, and a rare piece from a series you don't see much. So
that's true.
Maxwell MK.
That's the only one we have.
Right. Very, very special. And in addition to Maxwell, Nina Fambuni is an amazing Nigerian artist who is now living in San Francisco. And, this is another rare find from a series and a body of work that she doesn't do anymore either. But just the way that she really gives you the sense of deep prayer and warmth, and just the expression of the woman and the tear rolling down the face. Her ability and range is really wide, but this is one body of work that you don't see a lot, which is nice to kind of talk about the different works.
Right, and Nina, worked with us through the Bombay Sapphire Artisan Series, which was a great opportunity for artists to really get their name out and to, bring exposure to emerging mid-career artists. And so, having her in the gallery really has, given us an opportunity to connect with artists from all over the country, and especially Nina in San Francisco.
That's right. And Preston Sampson, one of our favorite artists from the East Coast, and Maryland in particular. But this is an artist known for multiple fingerprints in different series, including his paper pulp, where he makes his own paper, mixes pigment in it, and that becomes part of the work. This is part of his encaustic series, where he's doing wax layered with collage, but just the feeling of different periods, the messaging behind the work is amazing. So amazing artist, and another example of an artist who has different series, but this series is something special, kind of little snapshots that feel like really big paintings.
Right, Preston's work does feel really big, but they're small. And
Right.
he's been painting for quite some time, he's your contemporary.
That's right.
So, you can look at his work and enjoy it, but, he actually has been around for quite some time.
Stephen Olalekan, Shayo.
Shayo.
And if no one else has expressed why it's important to travel along the journey of a body of work with an artist, Stephen Olalekan, I think, expresses it best with this series of charcoal, and how he touches, all of our desire to connect with our own Africanism, whatever that means, whether it's the hair puffs from the 70s, or just, expressing yourself and allowing you and who your hair and how you look is
Right.
be the reality.
The big hoop earrings.
That's right.
The gaze and the eyes that are creating something that I think is special because there's a message in each one of the pieces. And as you look at each of the ladies that he has here, you can see there's something inside of them. Again, when you talk about evolutions of bewilderment, you're trying to figure out, what are they saying? What are they thinking? Where are they going? Where have they been? And so I think each viewer can connect. Each viewer can connect in their own way to each of the pieces and be able to, see something within themselves, no matter who they are.
And I think as we talk about the show evolution, even the evolution of this series, when we first, 4 years ago, received this work, it was a lot more definitive and exact, and it was so lifelike that when people first saw Stephen O. Lakin's work, they thought they were photographs, so they didn't pay him much mind, and they would walk by it and say, oh, that's a nice photograph. So they didn't give it much value or credence. So Stephen, and if you go back to many of the virtual exhibit catalogs previous and listen to Stephen O. Lakin's conversations, he talks about why what looks like lines going through the faces are not rain or just, marks in the charcoal. It really takes us back to Africa and the study and really digging into scaration and what scaration in African tribes meant. So that would have been more of a regal scarring. To have scarring was regality. So to subtly impose that beauty, which is a beauty from the continent, into the natural beauty of our African women, and then to still have those eyes that, connect to you like they do.
Exactly.
And the natural hair, and really that full circle of us running away from ourselves, but running to ourselves. So again, having the ability to ride along the journey with Stephen O. Lakin, whether it's the backgrounds, and to be able to embrace charcoal head on, straight up without glass,
right,
is really nice.
I feel a sense of pride with his work. When I look at it, I feel a sense of pride that makes me connect to who I am as an African person of African descent. And we call ourselves African American, but I feel as though I'm still connected to my ancestors, and it's, awesome to be a part of that. Akin is amazing. I really love how he uses that industrial material in his work to create something that is so elegant and flows so nicely.
Mm-hmm. And another example of why a platform where an artist can evolve, evolution, and his search for bewilderment that started with really Philip Screws. Philip Screws that he saw moving around in Home Depot. If you go back to any of our previous VECs and you really look at what he does with his pastime, is he spends a lot of time in Home Depot and different stores. And in that, he's able to find things that have another definition, like I said before, the Philip Screws. To
and
now,
wire.
he moved to bicycle chains and this amazing inner piece that is the ultimate example of the evolution, to where now he's evolved to bike chains, washers, and bike gears to create something so peaceful.
Right, and I love the hair. The hair is working with the bicycle chains or the gears. Is that the gears?
That's
right.
That's right. It's something special. Like that's the sweet sauce or the magic of that bewilderment, is to be able to look at a bike gear and be able to find a crown in it, to look at washers and make people feel like you're looking at the pores of a beautiful black woman's skin. That's the genius of the evolution.
And the folding of the legs. You
Yes.
know how he's able to fold the legs and then create that position, the Zen position. It's really awesome.
I agree. So in closing, again, VEC number 17, Virtual Exhibition Catalog number 17, Evolution, In Search of Bewilderment. We hope you've enjoyed our personal tour, which is often hard to do in a open, non-virtual environment. But we know that it's important to stay connected to you through the art and to give you these opportunities to learn more about these artists and to take the journey on the evolution in many different series and many different fingerprints. So please come back virtually 24/7, 7 days a week at www.galleryguichard.com, and we'd love to see you next time. But until then, see art, love art, buy art, live with original art. Click on the link for the virtual exhibition catalog that you're interested in. Then once it opens up, you are inside of the Gallery Guichard exhibition of your choice. Now you can move around freely by touching the circles, and you can get information about each painting, title, medium, artist, and contact information